The world should be fair. I believe that's something that we can all agree upon. But what does fair actually mean? Hello and welcome. My name is Peter B. and I welcome you here at My First Million, where we are achieving our financial goals together. In today's video, we are exploring a topic which is setting the stage for our careers. And therefore, we want to go deeper into the topic of equality. And mainly, we want to take a look at what does it mean to have equal outcome? Or do we just need to get equal opportunity? And then we'll take the concepts of equality and do a reality check. And for this video, I'm giving a very specific real life example. Many of you watching might not be directly able to relate to this real life example. However, bear with me because it also translates into other areas. And it also summarizes what action in the end, what action you can take to achieve your goals and dreams. So in today's example, we are exploring equality of opportunities for farmers specifically in Switzerland, or to become a farmer in Switzerland. So we have a case study here, a real life case study, being a Swiss farmer. So how likely is it that you can be a Swiss farmer? Of course, first and foremost, you need to understand that if you're not a Swiss, it will be very difficult for you to buy a Swiss farm. So this question, whether or not you can be a Swiss farmer, is almost only exclusive to the Swiss people who are living in Switzerland and having a working permit in Switzerland. So, but as said, the concepts that we are taking a look here can be applied into other areas as well. So bear with me here with this example. So Switzerland has a population of around 9 million people. And at the same time, there are around 48,000 Swiss farms. So how likely is it that you become a Swiss farmer? Or at least that you marry into a farmer family. So if you're not a farmer by yourself, maybe your spouse can be a farmer. Can you do the math more or less? So I would say it's probably somewhere between 1 or 2%. You can take the 9 million, divide it by 48,000, and then of course not the whole 9 million is the working population. Only a portion of the 9 million is the working population. So if you take a look, maybe into consideration that half of the 9 million is working population, then you will get to around 1% likelihood that you can be a farmer in Switzerland, and maybe a little bit more than that if you also consider maybe marrying a Swiss farmer. So the likelihood, if you're Swiss, to become a Swiss farmer is around 1 to 2%. But does this really apply to every Swiss? The reality looks quite a bit different. And I'm showcasing here a family tree. And in specific, this is my family tree. I chose this example because I'm coming from a Swiss farmer family. And you can see me here. I'm on the lowest row, the second person. This is me. On the lowest row you see my siblings and myself. Then one above you see my father and my mother circled in red. And next to my father are all his siblings. Next to my mother are all her siblings. And then you see my grandparents at the first row. So my father's side's grandparents in red and my mother's side's grandparents in green. So you can see, I even don't include any cousins or any spouses of my aunts and uncles. So, but this already shows that I am coming from a huge family. So my family tree is pretty big. But now back to the topic, being a Swiss farmer. Basically what I did here in the family tree, I highlighted everyone who has still a relationship of being a farmer. So first let's start at my grandparents from my father's side, here at the top. You can see here they are circled in red. So my grandparents from my father's side my grandparents of my father's side have been farmers. Then after they retired, they handed along their farm to my father. And actually, not just to my father, they splitted the farm. So one part of the farm went to one of my father's brothers. So one of my uncles also became a farmer. Then what happened? Now that my parents are reaching the retirement age, my parents already handed over the farm to my brother. So you can see here, from my grandparents to my father to my brother, the farms are passed down throughout the generations. And you can also see the same. From my grandparents, from my mother's side, you can see they are circled in green. So they also have been farmers. So my mother's side is also coming from a farmer family. And what happened to their farm? They passed it down to my uncle. So my uncle took over my grandparents' farm. In addition to that, I highlighted a few more people. You see my brother, I highlighted him in purple because he went through a farmer's apprenticeship and is still working at least part-time in agricultural related businesses. And everyone highlighted in yellow, they married someone who owned a farm. So as a tradition, usually in Switzerland, the farm goes from father to son. If you have been a daughter in a Swiss farmer family, usually you will not become the farmer, at least in a traditional manner. Nowadays, of course, things are changing. And also girls are taking into consideration to take over a family farm. But you see, at least one aunt from my father's side married a farmer. Also, my sister married a farmer. And even more extreme, from my mother's side, all the aunts, including my mother, married farmers. So you can now get a feeling where am I going with this topic. So you can see on the family tree, on my family tree, how likely is it to become a farmer. So the current reality in Switzerland, even though maybe as a Swiss you have a 1 to 2% chance to become a Swiss farmer, the reality looks actually very different for depending in which family you are born into. If you're born into a farmer's family like me, it's a much higher likelihood and you have much higher chances to become a farmer. If you're not born into a farmer family, the likelihood is much lower. But it's not just about opportunities, it's also about what people want in their life. If you are born into a farmer's family, you start to cherish the life on the countryside, outside, maybe with animals, and you like this kind of life a lot because this is what you are used to, and therefore you might take relatively easily into consideration whether or not you want to become a farmer. In contrast, if you're not born into a farmer's family, you even don't have the experience, you even don't know what it really means to be a farmer. And therefore, people born not into a farmer's family are much less likely to want to become farmers. So to sum this up, I want to make a reality check. Is it really possible to have equality in outcomes? I think this example exactly shows it's impossible. Just at the very fundamental level, if you're not Swiss, if you want to become a Swiss farmer, it's nearly impossible to do so. There are too many barriers and some are very high. The second question comes, instead of striving for equality in outcomes, can we at least strive toward equality in opportunities? I think this is a thing that we as a society always need to try to optimize toward to and try to give everyone in the society equal opportunities. So when it comes to Swiss farming, equal opportunities means that also people not coming from a farmer's family also have the opportunity to do an agricultural related apprenticeship. And we are also allowing those people to buy farms. But even if there's equal opportunity from the education side and also from the possibilities to buy a farm, it's still much harder. In the end, it's still much harder to become a Swiss farmer if you're not born into a Swiss farmer family, because simply you're not able to inherit a farm from your family, from your parents. Instead, you would need to search a farm that is available for sales. And also, sometimes the farmer who are selling the farms, they also could be a bit picky on who they want to sell the farm to, because they want to make sure that whoever is taking over the farm really understands what it takes to be a Swiss farmer. So I believe the key takeaway from this video, from this topic and from this example is, as a society, we probably can push towards equal opportunities. However, the reality looks different. The reality is there's always imbalance in opportunities, inequality of opportunities. Regardless in which area you're taking a look at, there is always going to be unequal opportunities. However, as individuals in this society, we can also adjust to the opportunities that are given to us. And this is exactly what we need to do when it comes to plan for our own careers. On one side, we can strive toward the ideal goals that we want to have in our careers. But on the other side, you also want to take into consideration what opportunities are you getting, and you can make use of that. In the end, I didn't end up in farming. I studied business management, and now my career path took me into an IT related field. I'm currently also not living in Switzerland anymore. Instead, I'm living in East Asia. But how did I get here? It's not because my opportunities were limited. No, it's because I took advantage of the opportunities that were given to me. And you can do so too. Please write in the comments below about your experiences of equal opportunity. What are the limitations that you have experienced and how you overcame the limitations? Thanks a lot for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and especially I look forward to seeing you winning financially.